I'm getting something on the distress channel.
Under the neutral zone in 1 minute, Captain.
Now entering the neutral zone.
She's dead, Jim. Well, we'll just find out about that. Hi, it's John from the Neutral Zone. Josh is not with me today. He's traveling. I was traveling earlier this week, and this is why we are a little late getting today's review up for Episode 9, Project Daedalus. This, I think, was a great episode. I know a lot of reviews have already come out because it's been a couple days, and I've watched a few of them, and a lot of people were kind of like, I got to tell you, I thought this was great. I was emotionally moved by this episode. First of all, we saw one of the greatest plot points you could ever have in a Star Trek. It is a starship against a computer, whether it's the Ultimate Computer or Nomad or Landru or any of these computers, or Star Trek I, the motion picture. Whenever you've got the crew up against a computer that's threatening the destruction of the universe, this is not a new plot, but it's always a good one. It's just like, when you go home to mom and she's got that fried chicken for you, you're like, I don't care how many times I've had this, I can have another round. I felt that way when they started talking about this control computer for Section 31. The simple fact of the matter, this is an AI computer that's going bad. Episode 9, I thought just had a lot of great stuff. It had the control computer that's out of control. It had the introduction of who really Ariam is and why. Now, you had to kind of create that because you were going to see her death later in the episode, and it was a very impressive arc they did in one episode that made you understand who Ariam is, the struggle she was going through, and then ultimately a courageous Starfleet officer who says, you need to kill me because I'm going to kill all of you if you don't. Reminiscent a little bit of the Spock-Kirk Star Trek II death scene, but it was still very well, I thought, played. It was scored very well from a music standpoint, and you see the security officer actually pushing the button at the end. So a lot of just good points in the sense of how they constructed it. Jonathan Frakes, of course, directed this episode, and I thought he did a great job, as he always does. Tilly shows up, and I can't say enough about this. I like Tilly overall. I don't mind her being on this, but this constant, her doing awkward, stupid things at the beginning of the show is just getting old. It reminds me of Data, except it's worse. I didn't like Data for this because this is the kind of stuff you would not see in a true military setting like this. So she was good in the episode, but that front scene where she pops in and just starts doing silly things. The interesting plot line of Spock and Burnham. I thought that the chess scene was fascinating. If those of you who remember Court Martial from the original Star Trek, where Spock plays a computer to prove that the computers have been changed, it was a little bit of a play off that, and I enjoyed it. And I'm really liking Ethan Peck. I can't say enough. Of course, he is the grandson of Gregory Peck, and those pipes he has for his voice. I was watching an episode with Nimoy today and just thought, boy, Ethan Peck has the right voice. This was a very simple episode in the sense that Captain Pike laid out kind of the priorities. We have to get on board the Section 31 ship, reboot the computer. Burnham, you figure out this. Saru, you figure out this. And then we followed it. There wasn't a lot of jumping into a lot of other areas. I really enjoyed Stamets for the first time trying to fix something as an engineer. That was very good. And then when he started talking with Spock, that was a very good scene. So again, Michelle Paradise, I think, deserves a lot of kudos. This was a really well-constructed episode from a writing perspective, and then Jonathan Frakes brought it to life in a very nicely constructed show. So, of course, now we've got to get into theories. In a moment, I'm going to reveal to you the most threatening villain ever to the Star Trek universe, to Star Trek Discovery and everything going on, including some of the things that happened in the JJ timeline. No one else has ever brought this villain to light, I think, in the podcast, so stay tuned for that. Where are we at with the Red Angel? Well, up till now, a lot of people have said, it's Burnham. I still think it's probably likely a future Burnham doing something, but now, with Ariam dead, And of course, as I said last week, no one on Star Trek ever dies. They just come back as an evil version or a daughter or something else. So I don't think Arium is going to be gone forever. So could Arium be the Red Angel? It's a possibility, but I'm still leaning toward Burnham from the future, and she's going to reset the clock somehow. I do want to mention one of the things that I enjoyed about this episode was the mine scene in Section 31. And some people said there was no purpose in it, but the purpose in it was an action scene. The ship getting cut up and stuff. And, there are certain things you just throw into a Star Trek just because they're going to be fun. And I think that's what that was. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to the plot, but I think it was just one of those, we had to have some kind of red alert moment, and that's what that served. So let's talk about it. The villain that is going to destroy a part of Star Trek, and you've not heard this before, it's, I believe, the most powerful entity you could ever ask for. It's a corporate identity. It's CBS. I believe what you're seeing here, you got to look beyond all the things that are going on in the plot and look at the big picture. I believe CBS is desperately trying to make Discovery work. And they are going to go to all ends with the writers and the producers because they need this series to work. Then you jump ahead to this August when the new Picard series begins, and it's supposed to be centered around the destruction of Romulus. Remember, the destruction of Romulus happened in the Prime timeline. Nero jumped back, and created the Kelvin timeline. So this is my current theory. CBS and Paramount are kind of neck and neck on this whole legal issues between the JJ Star Trek merchandising and everything that's going on with them from 2009 on, and the CBS Viacom Star Trek, which is part of the Discovery universe. Big picture-wise, they are trying to destroy the JJ Paramount timeline so they can have all the rights and so forth to the new Star Trek timeline, which is the Discovery timeline. They could change a lot of things this year. It's hard to say where they're going to land on all this. But I do believe we are seeing a corporate takeover of Star Trek from the CBS folks. So that's where we're at. Again, episode 9, I'm going to give it 9, a warp 9 on this. I thought it was a good episode because it had all my favorite things. It had a crazy computer that's throwing everything into chaos, or control, whichever way you want to look at it. You had a crew member who was taken over by that computer and killed, probably not dead though. And you had some fist fights, and you had a mystery. And those are all the great parts of a recipe of a good Star Trek episode. So if they continue to turn them out like this, I'm very excited. Remember, Michelle Paradise writes episode 13 and 14, which are the season finale. So we've got a taste of where she's going with this, and I think it's very exciting. Star Trek Discovery, I think, is a great show, and I'm so glad that you're following us. We have more and more people who are watching our streams, and I hope Josh and I will have a few moments to talk a little bit more about the episode later this week. But if you would you do me a favor and subscribe? We'd love to know that you're out there, and please comment. Tell us your theories. There's a lot of things going on here, and my theories are just one, but I'd love to hear what yours are. We'll read them and let people know what's going on. You can follow us on Twitter. We have some funny memes going on Instagram and also our Facebook page. But if you're on Instagram, keep up with what's going on with our memes and our videos as well. And Josh will be with me soon. Until then, we'll see you next time in the Neutral Zone.